This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by Nissan. Adventure calls in the first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Here we go. Hey, Bashi.
Tuffy.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I feel like I might start this podcast off with a sneeze, but I think I may be fighting it off.
You got a good stop technique for a sneeze. Just grab your nose as hard as you can and twist it to the side.
It's tough because it is a good stop technique, but I can't use it on the show, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Do you know how many times I've sneezed mid-interview on my show?
Well, I know of one in particular.
Which one?
David Ortiz.
Yeah, Big Papi was the first time.
Oh, so good. He laughed so hard.
He laughed so hard because I fought it basically for the entirety of that interview. Thought I had made it past, and then it was a real loud, bone-shaking sneeze.
Yeah.
And he laughed really hard.
Yeah. We're big sneezers. Like no one sneezes like Dad.
No one sneezes like Dad, but we did, inherit it. We've got that DNA.
Yeah. And then Mackenzie always kind of gets on me about my sneezes, but she also has like a scream sneeze.
Yeah.
It's not like she's shrinking vibe.
I will admit, sometimes Alexi will say, "Can't you do that quieter?" And I'm going to tell you something. I think I can.
But I Googled it. How do I sneeze quieter? And it said, try to cough while you sneeze at the same time, and that will minimize it. So sometimes I'll be on a good run of real like blasters, and I remind myself to try and cough. And I don't know if it works, but worth a try.
I think the reason I'm trying to sneeze at the current level I'm sneezing at is I love it. I genuinely love a loud sneeze. It makes me feel good, and I appreciate that the people around me are not a fan, but I don't want to give it up.
Yeah, well then don't.
I also think when you're a loud sneezer, people think your cold is worse and you get more sympathy.
Oh, okay.
When I sneeze at work, people are like, whoa, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I sneeze all the time though, but I don't have a cold. I rarely have a cold, but I just sneeze. And I don't have allergies.
Second time I sneezed was with Amy Poehler, which is funny because I feel as though at different times in my life, I've referred to both David Ortiz and Amy Poehler as America's sweetheart. But I sneezed mid Amy Poehler interview, and this speaks to what a delightful improviser she is. She screamed, "A sneeze! Everybody stand up!" And she stood up, and she made the whole audience stand up. And she said, "That's the rule. When the host sneezes, everybody stands up." And it made me laugh really hard.
That had to be really fun for the audience.
It was great. Well. They loved it. That's the new rule. She made it very clear. That's the rule. When the host sneezes, everybody stands.
Have you sneezed since then and then told the audience to stand up?
No. I don't know.
Do you think you would? Do you think you'd
I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I will remember it, but I just don't think. I don't want to have to explain it to the audience. It would be so funny if I was having a conversation with, say, Morgan Freeman, and I said, "I'm sorry, I sneezed," so now everybody's got to stand up. You too.
You too.
Sorry,
you too, sir.
You're everybody. I'm not currently sick, but last night, Axel was sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was downstairs recording a Lonely Island podcast, which I rarely do at home. But by the time it was over, I had a bunch of texts with the news, and the news was this. Axel's sick. He's in our bed. You have to go sleep in his bed. Or you can crawl into bed with us, but he's sort of a whimpering, fluey, not the best bed companion. So I slept on the bunk bed, the lower bunk in the boys' room. And I came in around like 9:45, crept in real quiet. But then Ash popped up and said, "Who's there?" And I said, "It's me, Axel's sick, excuse me, I'm going to sleep in the lower bunk." And he was because Axel falls asleep so early, Ash was so excited to chit-chat.
Oh, I bet.
I feel like he's never had somebody and he was like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're here." So the funniest thing just happened in my book. And I was like, "Buddy, it's bedtime. It's super late." And he said, "Yeah, but I never get to talk to Axel because he's asleep." So the funniest thing happened, and I just had to like sit there and it was great, but we did about 15 minutes of chit-chat.
Did he hang his head over the side to look at you, or was he sort of looking at the ceiling and just?
He was sort of looking at the ceiling, and he busted me super hard because he was telling a real snore of a story. And all of a sudden he said, "Did you just turn your phone on?" Because I was. I will admit that I thought, you know what, I could do the crossword and listen to this at the same time.
Yeah.
And he said, and it was really sweet. He said, "Don't turn your phone on." And I said, "Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, I just wanted to, made up some lie. I wanted to check what the temperature was tomorrow." Which is a big thing right now because I have decided. Tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a 20-minute walk to school with the boys. My preference, obviously, is to walk them to school as opposed to take a car to school, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've decided with them we need to pick a number, a temperature number, where we will take a car versus walk. What do you think? What do you think a fair temp is?
That they picked or that you
No,
picked?
we kind of came to a consensus. But like, if you were a dad, what would you pick?
20.
28.
Okay.
I've done 28. And I will, if it's windy, 32. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wind chill.
I think, by the way, 20 is probably okay, but we settled on 28. They're of the age where they know 32 is freezing, so you can't go too far below freezing before they start, making a real ruckus.
But then, I mean, is there concept of freezing that at 31 degrees you freeze like an ice cube?
That's my concept of it. So they have inherited that from me. They have inherited that from me. And I take Friday. I take the train with the boys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes my niece joins. My niece Agnes.
Yeah.
This is my wife's sister's daughter.
Yeah.
Obviously, people know it's not yours. I guess anybody listening now knows you're my only
Also,
sibling.
if they get your Christmas card, they got some questions.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody. I don't know when it started. My wife insists that we've had this conversation. Our Christmas card every year is 4 children. My 3 and then Agnes. And I thought in my head it said, happy holidays from Ash, Axel, Addie, and cousin Agnes. But there's no even cousin.
No. Yeah, that's gone.
So I would say I get 6 texts a year of people asking when we had a 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems to me like my read on it, and I know you, I know Agnes, so I know what the situation is. But I feel like, and knock on wood, I never want this to happen, but it seems like Agnes's parents have perished.
Yes.
And you have folded her into your family.
Yes. It's very much serious.
Which would be the right move.
100%.
In that horrible, horrible eventuality that no one's rooting for.
Yes.
But in lieu of that, there's a lot of people like, did I miss one?
Yeah. So basically it's a 2-part thing. They're like, did you have a 4th? And I say, no, it's our niece. And they said, oh my God, our condolences on her parents dying. And then I say, no, they're alive. They just don't want to do a card.
So they don't do a card.
This
is their way of, okay.
Yeah, they want their daughter to be on a card, but they don't want to do a card. The other very unfair thing, this year the Meyers family card was, because I will not use their last name on my card. It is a Meyers family card. And it was Nutcracker themed. Yeah. So the boys are in their little toy soldiers, and then the 2 girls are ballerinas. Mm-hmm. And where I think one day Addie is going to take some issues with, and by the way, Addie loves Agnes, looks up to her.
Yeah.
But Agnes is sort of this long, lean,
prima
model.
ballerina.
Yeah, prima ballerina. And Addie looks like a tumbleweed in a tutu. It's a very unfair side-by-side comparison.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But cute kids.
Cute kids. And where I was going, taking the train, Ash this weekend, going to a buddy's house to go skiing. Axel's sick this morning. So Axel did not go to school. He left with Alexi this morning. Get out of the city. So I am going on the train just with Agnes.
Oh, wow.
Now, originally, when I woke up this morning, I said to Alexi, I don't want to go with just Agnes. I can say that because she doesn't listen to the pod. I don't want to go with just Agnes. And Agnes walks like a marionette where you can't see the strings. So it was just it was just like a Muppet.
Yeah.
And very slow. But I also walk Agnes to school. I'm doing a lot of parenting for this child that is not mine. But I'm walking Agnes to school, and she won me over. She charmed me. Huh? I was taking the train anyway, and so it was very hard to be like, no, man, I roll alone. Because Agnes, this is the way Agnes says my name. Sass? So we're walking. She goes, Sass? Can I come on the train with you, Sass? And then I'm like, yeah, fine. And I got to get dinner on the train. So I said, what do you got? What do you want for dinner? She goes, pizza. And I said, what kind of pizza? She goes, I want a cheese pizza with no cheese. And so then I text Ariel. I'm like, I'm not doing this fucking bullshit. and she said, just tell her that doesn't exist, and she has to eat it. So I'm excited to report back how upset Agnes will be when she sees there's actual cheese on her cheese pizza. Yeah. But train, I do. It's not a very nice train, but
it's a nice train, I think.
It's I wish there was like it's not a cella, right? It's not like a table.
Sure, yeah.
But it's nice enough, and it does echoing the fact that it is the most popular answer for our listeners. I do love that once a week I get on a train.
Yeah,
and I love Grand Central. I love Grand Central.
Also, if she sort of busts you like Ash does and is like, "Hey, don't turn on your phone," you tell her to just button that right up.
Well, here's the thing: she won't. I mean, we will not. Once we get on the train, we will not say another word to each other because it's true for my kids as well. It is their one sort of screen time, uninterrupted screen time of the week.
Yeah.
So everybody gets on that train. And I would say the worst part of it is how I think it's my time to chill, and instead I'm just hovering over. It's like being a bird feeding your hatchlings. I'm just hovering over them with pizza, trying to get them to eat it. Cheese pizza with no cheese.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're just trying to watch Deer Hunter.
Yeah. They do watch some dark stuff. We did a podcast with The Lonely Island. We did an episode with Mike O'Brien.
Yeah.
And I was, because he did a bunch of short films on SNL. And so I was watching some of his short films just to get ready for the podcast. And Ash came in. And it was really fun because he didn't fully get them, but I was letting him watch SNL comedy with me. Mm-hmm. And the stuff that was making him laugh was really making him laugh. And it was great. Just delightful to know that's around the corner.
Yeah.
Who we got today, bud?
Brooklyn Peltz Beckham.
Very exciting. Lovely guy.
Oh my gosh. What a doll. I mean, I don't know if he's going to appreciate being called a doll, but this guy is a doll.
You know what? I think he'll appreciate that it was clearly how you thought of him.
Yeah, no. Yeah. He's so charming, so sweet, so nice, and I really enjoyed this.
I apologize. Here I am ranting and raving about having to bring my niece on a train. I think our listeners would be very upset if I didn't check in on how things are going in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, if your house is gone, I can't even begin to imagine. People are still putting their lives back together, but I'm in Hollywood, and I will say you don't notice it unless you're turning on the news or unless you're sort of driving out towards the Palisades or the Eaton Fire. You don't smell it in the air anymore. People are all checking in with each other. Like if you go into a shop, if you see someone checking you out at the grocery store that everyone's checking in, making sure you're okay. But I'm fine. It feels like life is normal. It definitely is not life is normal for so many people. But yeah, I mean, it's a city that's gonna keep on keeping on. There's so many places that are doing benefits, so many stores and charities and theaters, and it's going to be a long road to recovery. But I truly believe that we're going to be back. But it's going to take a while.
Well, thank you for the update. I'm certainly continue to send our love to everybody out there, and hoping people stay safe. And we do hope as well that you enjoy this conversation. Maybe take your mind off things. Brooklyn Peltz Beckham with an assist from Jeff Tweedy.
Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Family trips with the Meyers brothers. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you?
How are you guys?
We're
Well.
wonderful. I'm so happy to
Amazing.
talk to you. I'm just going to open right up by leaning into a stereotype and just saying I'm so surprised that a British person has their own line of hot sauce. Am I wrong to think that? I just don't think
No.
about yeah, okay, good.
No, not at all.
Are you the first? Are you one of one in that category?
I think so. I think I am.
It is very, so Cloud 23 is your new hot sauce. And obviously at some point you decided, I should know, my entire life I did not like spicy foods. And then my wife is from New Mexico and she introduced me to it. And now I maybe overdo it. So I'm very excited to try your hot sauce. But when did you become somebody who liked it?
So I've always been a fan of hot sauce. That's kind of why I got into it. My love for food has been since I was a baby. I was lucky enough to travel in some pretty cool places and live in some pretty cool places. And I don't know. I think through COVID, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I just kind of wanted to just experience like what I could do with my love for food. I didn't really want to be in a kitchen. I wanted to be in like the business aspect of cooking. So then one night at like 2 a.m., me and my wife in our place just started cooking up some hot sauce and created the first sweet jalapeno recipe. And that's kind of how it started.
Do you find, I mean, in your travels, like with, I would imagine that some chefs wouldn't want you to sort of cover their hard cooked food with a hot sauce. Have you offended anyone in your days?
I don't think I've offended. I hope I haven't offended anyone.
Sure.
I think like on my website, I collabed with like 10 of my favorite chefs to create a recipe with my hot sauce. So like Nobu's one of them, Chef Ludo, Evan Funky. So just a few to name. So I don't think I've offended anyone. I hope I haven't. I just wanted to create a pretty good hot sauce.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about what is. At the end, spoiler alert, we're going to ask you your favorite mode of transportation. I feel like a lot of people say train who actually don't ride trains that much. But Europeans, I feel like, do ride trains. You just did your favorite train snacks with recipes, though. And I will say, Brooklyn, this is the problem for me. I thought you were going to say these are the best trains and these are the snacks you can buy on the train. I don't want to make my own train snacks. Now, they look delicious. They really look delicious. Are you actually making your own sausage roll?
Oh my God, of course. Me being English, you have to make your own sausage rolls.
Do
of
you
course.
really? I've seen a lot of British people eating sausage rolls that they bought, and I don't know if they've ever made their own.
Oh my, well, there's a place called Greg's in London that make the best sausage rolls in the world. That kind of, when I first had it when I was really young, I was like obsessed with them. I think every English person's obsessed with Greg's. And then, every time I go on the train, every time I, travel anywhere, I love making my own sausage rolls now. So it's like just become like a thing now.
That's wonderful.
Do you ever like the guy pushing the cart? Is he ever like, hey, you got to pay for that?
He's always
like, no, this was in my bag. I made this.
He's always just like, what is that? That looks so good. And then, I ask if he wants a piece and he's like, no, but, it's fine.
So, obviously, due to your parents' very cosmopolitan life, I would imagine you lived a lot of places. Where was the bulk of your childhood spent?
So I was born in London, raised in Manchester. I lived quite a long time in Madrid, and then I moved out to LA for 6 years. But I think probably London.
Yeah.
Probably London, but I did spend a lot of time in the US, and obviously now I live here now with my wife, which is nice because I know my way around because I used to live here. So
yeah,
I like it out here.
And when you were young, because again, you were traveling the world just because of like what your parents did. But did you, I mean, I would imagine you also took massive trips. You're the oldest of four?
Oldest of four.
Okay. And what's the
Oldest
gap?
of four.
But what's the gap between you and your other siblings?
We're all pretty close. My sister's 13, my brother Cruz is 19, and my brother Romeo is 22.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're all
You're
we're all
25?
pretty close. I'm 25, yes.
And then, so what would a trip be if your parents wanted to just take the kids and get away for a while and tap out of that busy lifestyle? I imagine they would probably just want to kick back somewhere.
Yeah, so it's become like a tradition. Ever since I was a baby, we usually always go to Napa Valley, which is now one of my favorite places, and I love that I used to go there with my mum and dad and my family, because now I get to take my wife there and I know my way around, and it's so lovely. And I'm a big wine drinker. I love wine. I love the whole culture of wine, and just to kind of learn that growing up with my dad has been amazing. So I would say Napa Valley. Because also it's like a 6-hour drive for me now. And obviously when we used to live here, my mum and dad used to always come here for holidays. Now they go to Miami, obviously, because of the team. But I would definitely say Napa Valley.
We are, obviously this is going to air later. We're talking to you pretty close to Thanksgiving. Do you all get together, or are you too spread out now?
Or do you not celebrate Thanksgiving?
Yeah, maybe that's possible. I bet you do. I'm going to jump in and say before you answer, I think you do.
So I have the last 4 years because my wife is from New York. So her and her family do Thanksgiving. So we're going to Miami for Thanksgiving with her family. In England, you don't really have Thanksgiving. I like, all my American friends are like, I can't believe you don't have Thanksgiving. Like in England, I'm like, well, we basically do every Sunday. It's called a Sunday roast.
Right.
So I kind of tell them we have it every Sunday. But yeah, so this year, the last 4 years, we've been doing it with my missus' family. So
where in New York is your wife from?
She's from Bedford, like upstate.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we go there.
We're from
every
Bedford,
summer.
New Hampshire.
Yeah,
Different.
Oh, really?
Different Bedford.
Different vibe, but yeah.
But no one,
amazing.
Yeah, no one visits.
I love it.
but
I love it up there. It's so nice.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, it's so nice.
So what about, I would imagine another thing that was tricky for you growing up, you must have been aware there was no place you could go where people wouldn't recognize your parents.
Yeah.
Like they're sort of famous in that global sense that very few people are. As a young person, were you aware of like, there's nowhere to go where we can just be like left alone?
I think, obviously growing up, going to the football games, going to the Spice Girl concerts, it was always like very hectic. Do you know what I mean? And like, obviously when we used to go for dinners, obviously people came up to my mum and dad, and I didn't really understand it from a really young age. I kind of, when I was a little bit older, I started to understand. I was like, oh, like, my parents are pretty well known. But my mum and dad did a great thing raising me, and they were just like, they tried to keep it as like private as possible, and they did an amazing job, and it was very hectic. I don't know if you've seen the documentary.
I have.
So yeah, I mean, like even like me watching that like a year ago, I was like, it just brought back so many memories. I was like, oh my God, like that was crazy, because like, I mean, I was the one who like went through it all with my mum and dad. So yeah.
It both seemed incredibly crazy, and then of course the nice thing about the documentary is it does seem like they also appreciate the quiet of being at home. And I would imagine, when you were at home, it probably felt like a more conventional family, albeit one with the biggest kitchen I've ever seen.
Yes. It's so nice. Like when we have dinner at my mum and dad's house, they don't have a TV in the dining room. We just, we all put our phones down and we enjoy each other's company, and it's the best.
Is that a hard and fast rule? If someone were to try to take a call or respond to a text, do you get called out for that?
When we were younger, yeah. Like if my phone rang, it was one of my mates. My dad was like, "Oh, like just do it after dinner," which I like. And obviously, when I have kids, I'm definitely going to do that as well. I think it's really important to have proper time with your family and whoever you're having dinner with, which I really like.
Yeah. I gave Seth's wife's family a box that you can put
your phones in. It can hold 5 phones.
I think I've
and then
seen this.
And then you set a timer.
Yeah.
They just took it as a joke gift. I don't think it was ever been used.
Yeah, Josh was not joking. Josh was not joking. Yeah, it was a very fair burn on my wife's family. I should know that. Yeah, who I love very much. Did you ever travel? Like because I know again back to seeing old documentaries of Man United tours to Asia. Did you ever go on big trips like that?
I didn't go on the big trips. No, I just went to obviously the ones at home in Manchester.
Yeah.
It's it's so cool because obviously after seeing that documentary, I just remember there was these at Old Trafford, there's these really skinny red doors where the players go through, or not where the players go through, but where all the stands go for all the people watching the football game. So just seeing those little details as well when I was really young, I was just brought back amazing memories. But no, I didn't go to Asia, unfortunately. I was probably too young.
How young were you the first time you went to a match?
Wow. Well, there's pictures of me. I don't know if you've seen them on the football pitch when I was maybe about 1 and I was kicking the football, 1 or 2, something like that. Yeah.
That's definitely how I know you had a different dad than my kids have, because they're 6 and 8 and I still don't think they could kick a ball that good.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by Nissan. It's time to fuel your inner adventure in the award-winning Nissan Rogue Rock Creek. So, Josh, tell me about a recent time you connected with your inner adventurer.
Well, anytime it rains in LA, which isn't very often, I throw my gear on and I get out in it. And my dog Woody loves to get out there with me. And we'll start on a trail, on sort of a big fire road trail, but then we find those smaller trails where you need to crawl and get your hands dirty. And the wetter you get, the better you get. And yeah, that's what we like.
I love it.
What about you? Have you connected with your inner adventurer recently?
You know those squirrel suits where people jump off the sides of cliffs?
Oh, yeah.
I just watched a YouTube video of that. But it gave me made my tummy feel weird.
Yeah. Careful. Don't watch too many of those. Whatever kind of adventurer you are, the Nissan Rogue Rock Creek is ready for you. Thanks to its intelligent around view monitor with off-road mode, the Rogue Rock Creek helps brave adventurers like you and also Seth to navigate around narrow obstacles in tough terrain. Plus, with lava red stitching and Rock Creek embroidery, you're surrounded in style no matter where you go.
Up on Rogue Rock Creek, she sends me. Right?
Yeah, we don't have the rights.
We probably can't clear that.
Nope.
So thanks again to Nissan for sponsoring this episode of Family Trips. Adventure calls in the first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Intelligent around view monitor cannot eliminate blind spots. It may not detect every object. Drivers should always turn and check surroundings before driving. See owner's manual for safety information. Hey, Bashi.
Yeah, Sufi.
Can I share an Airbnb story with you real quick?
Please. Yeah.
We went on a vacation and we got ourselves an Airbnb with a pool. And what I loved about it was not just that my kids had a pool to themselves, but more importantly, people who are trying to enjoy their vacation didn't have it ruined by being in a pool with my children. I was like, just go do your thing. Go do your thing. We're not impeding on anybody else's good time. And that's one of the nice things about when you get your own place.
Yeah, I'm sure other people appreciate that you're not by a pool very much.
Yeah. I remember we went on vacation once and you couldn't go to the pool because you got so sunburned.
Yeah.
That happened to you a lot.
Yeah. I got fair skin.
And you know what? I'll be honest. I know they're a sponsor. That would also happen to you at an Airbnb. It's not like they're going to stop you from getting sunburned. You're a fair skin gentleman.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, make it better for yourself. Also, you're making it better for other people if your kids are irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So book your next awesome trip today at Airbnb.com.
Support comes from Talkspace. Hey, Bashi.
Hey, Sufi.
We've both been lucky enough over the years to find time to talk to therapists. And I will say the thing I noticed when I went through that process was just how much better I slept. I was spending so much time at night thinking through things that once I actually had a chance to talk to them with therapists, I was at peace when I needed to be at peace.
Yeah. I mean, that's important too. It's hard to be in a good mental space when you're not sleeping well.
Therapy, look, it can be costly, but Talkspace is affordable, in-network with most insurance providers. Most insured members have a $0 co-paid. Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, makes getting the help you need easy, accessible, and affordable.
You can easily sign up online and get paired with the licensed provider that's the right fit for your needs, typically within 48 hours. You can also switch providers at no extra cost.
You can even talk it out between sessions by sending messages to your therapist. Talkspace provides personalized treatment for individuals, couples, the LGBTQIA+ community, veterans, and teens.
As the listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/trips and enter promo code SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/trips and enter promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/trips, promo code SPACE, SPACE 80.
Here we go.
When you went somewhere like to Napa, I imagine as a young kid, you don't have a hyper developed palate, so it's not going to be all fancy dinners and things. Like, what do you guys do for fun to get out? Like, we went there years ago and went on a canoe trip down the Russian River, but were there sort of nature-y? Did you do nature-y adventure kind of things in Napa or otherwise?
Yeah. So when I went there when I was really young, we stayed at this place called Meadowwood, which is so gorgeous. There was I used to skateboard, so there was a skate park 20 minutes from there. While my dad went to his favorite wineries. So me and my brothers and my sister went to the skate park. And then we used to have these vines at Meadowwoods, and we used to, when it was obviously picking season, me and my brothers and my sister used to go down our vines and pick them and then squash the grapes and do pizza nights. And it was really fun. Yeah.
The first time I ever saw an actual skate park, I was like, oh, well, this is how you would get good at skateboarding. We lived on top of a hill with a cul-de-sac, and I never got to a point where I could ride the skateboard down the hill. And I just feel like I was sort of trapped like Rapunzel up there. Yeah. And it was all my abilities were left at the bottom of the hill or on an actual skate park.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it looks so fun. And I'm so angry that I never learned. And I feel like it's a bad idea to pick it up now.
Yeah, I've definitely hurt some bones on skateboarding.
Nobody gets hurt like me.
Were you there when Ash got hurt at the skate park? Were you there, Josh?
I don't know, but I had a picture sent to me.
Yeah, it was bad. I brought my son to a skate park when he was little. He had a scooter, not a skateboard. And my parents were with me, and he'd done it before. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to go. Ash has so much fun. And then, of course, when my parents were there, he lost his confidence, rattled, fell down. And I'm like, well, he probably will never get on a scooter or a skateboard again. Oh. Yeah.
Oh,
too young.
It's the worst when you fall
too
that
young to take a header. Yeah, and it was just, it was fortunately nothing broken, but way too much blood.
Yeah.
I felt terrible because I said to his teacher, I dropped him off and he had scrapes all over his face. And I said, just FYI, he's being really dramatic about this. And the teacher was like, I would be too. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't know why I'm being so hard on my own kid. Were you somebody when you, our dad is only a fan of sports, but we went to a Pittsburgh Steelers game with him, and it's so life and death for us watching a game when it's your actual dad. Did you ever feel as passionate as the people around, or did it matter less to you?
I was definitely more passionate, especially as I was getting older. When he played for LA Galaxy, when he played for PSG, obviously, I was definitely more passionate. I was, obviously me and my brothers also we're really worried as well, because I've seen so many football injuries over the years, and that's all me and my brothers were worried about, and my mum. And obviously, because my dad did his Achilles, which is, he said, the most painful thing which I could imagine. But I've always been super passionate about football, even now that he has the team, and I watch every Inter Miami game. And I'm, as passionate now as I was.
It's good. I'm glad. I was worried that if you get too close to it, you lose that piece. But I'm glad.
Oh no, I love it. I love it, and it's weird because my wife's family is a big ice hockey family, and so whenever we're at her house, they're always watching ice hockey, and I just don't understand it at all. I just really don't. And I'm like, can we please put on the football? And my wife's dad's like, no. So trying to get
I love that those are essentially the same games. They're just
massively
on different surfaces. Yeah, I know, but
and bigger
it's weird.
goals.
No, but I was saying, Josh, like you're right. They're the same, except I feel like there's maybe the least amount of overlap in who likes both.
Right.
Like, you never hear somebody be like, I love football. I'm saying football for you. I would say soccer if you weren't here, Brooklyn. I have a quick story about it. I met your parents one time, early 2000s, and I was on SNL, and there was a party at my CAA, my agency, and they said, and they knew I loved soccer. So they're like, oh my God, you should come, David Beckham's going to be there. And I came, my agent introduced me to your parents. And they were so sweet because they were like, this is Seth Meyers, he's on SNL. And they were both like, oh, of course, we're big fans. And they did not know who I was, but they were being very polite. And the reason
I'm sure they did.
No, I'm telling you, because the best thing that happened was then Chris Noth, who was Mr. Big on Sex and the City, he came over to say hello, and they were both like, oh my God, we love you. And so it was, I would have, but they were so sweet, they would have gotten away with it if they didn't just after me see somebody they actually recognized. But it was the best.
What was my dad wearing? Because obviously in the early 2000s, my dad has had some pretty...
You know what? It might have been like, it was not crazy. I feel like it was not crazy. It's like almost to a disappointing level, because that was the era where, look, if you were going to see David Beckham, you're kind of hoping it was going to be the...
It wasn't the double level one, the double level that they...
A suit made out of sausage rolls?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, again, the wedding stuff from the documentary, I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Like
my God.
Like, I mean, you really are just like, these two are the most perfect match.
In the purple suit, it's so funny. Every Halloween, I always get tagged in someone doing that outfit, and they always dress their little kid in a purple suit with a cowboy hat, and that's me. And it's so funny seeing that every time.
How old were you?
I was 1.
Yeah.
I think I was 1. Yeah.
Too early to have memories, right? You only know it from the pictures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, where were your grandparents nearby when you were growing up?
Yes. I'm super close to them still. Always, I've always been super close to them. Yeah.
Would you go to their houses?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Like whenever me and Nicola go to London, we stay with my mum and dad, and then sometimes we stay the night with my nanny, my dad's mum, and then my nana and papa, who are my mum's mum and dad.
And were they local to you? Were they close by when you were growing up?
So we live in London. Their house is actually in Sawbridgeworth, or close to Sawbridgeworth, which is kind of where I grew up, which is like a part of the countryside of England. So it's like an hour and 15 minutes. It's not that bad. It's easier now that I drive. It's easier.
Would your parents ever pack all of you into the car and drive out for a meal, or was that?
Yes. Yes. It was like a tradition. We used to go down there, and we used to have either Indian food or Chinese food. England does really good Chinese and Indian food. Yeah. So that like growing up was our tradition. We either do takeaway or we go to the restaurant.
Gotcha. And would you ever do trips that your grandparents would join you on?
Yes. So actually my nana and papa have a place in Spain that we always used to go to. Probably there. And then my mum and dad used to have a house in France that we always used to go to.
Gotcha. And what was Spain? What was the vibe there? What was, were you seaside or?
It was like a really cute little, well, they still have it. It's a cute little like townhouse. It's really nice, really private. And there's great restaurants around there. It's like 20 minutes from the beach, but it's like in a town, and it's really cute, really, really, really great food. So
is there a large British community there? Because I know a lot of English people like, okay, gotcha. So
English people love to go on holiday and get absolutely burnt. So, and they all go to Spain. So I feel at home when I'm in Spain, to be honest, and I see all the English people.
My wife and I once, we were in St. Lucia, and we got to we were like, I think like 3 hours away from the airport. And then we got to the airport, and our flight had been canceled, and it was going to leave first thing the next morning. And we could either go all the way back to, it seemed crazy to go all the way back. And there was a hotel like right next to the airport. And Brooklyn, it was 95% British people. And I've never seen the more sunburned, also just the happiest sunburned people I've ever seen. I think
you can tell an English person when you see one. They're it's so funny.
And I just feel like an American would be at the hospital and they're just like still trying to like just tough it out for one more hour. I think they just know like when we're going back to a place with no sun, we're gonna get it while we can get it.
Exactly. Oh my God. No, it's so funny. Like even like when you go to England and there's either like if it's really sunny outside, but it's still like 59 degrees outside, you see people in the park with their shirts off. It's amazing. It's the best. Yeah. Like whenever there's sun, all the English people go to the park and the pubs.
Is the idea of getting burnt to sort of have other people recognize that you've gone on holiday?
Well, I think, I burn very easy because I'm English. But I think, everyone's always like, you get so burnt. Why do you do it? And I'm like, well, it does turn into a tan at some point. You're only burnt for a few days and then you put some aloe vera on, it turns into a nice tan.
There are some doctors listening to this podcast right now, and they just took their headphones off and threw them across the room. Dermatologists will not be sponsoring this episode where Brooklyn's no, it turns into a tan. You're good. Yeah. You're good.
It's good. Everyone burn
Try and not get burned, though. Sunscreen is good, but, sunscreen doesn't work for me.
When did you feel like as a kid you realized you had you were drawn to sort of culinary styles and inspirations?
So probably when I lived in Madrid with my family, I don't know, like it was always me and my dad. Me and my dad always and still bond over food. We love going to restaurants. We love going to omakasses. Like me and my dad are the only ones in our family that will eat anything and try anything. So probably in Madrid, me and my dad, that if there's a new restaurant or this restaurant that my dad really wants to try. My mum is kind of a picky eater, so my brothers when they were young, and they were really young when we used to live in Madrid, so it was always me and my dad going to these types of restaurants and eating some pretty strange things, but it's really fun.
That's fantastic. Anytime you can find something to do with just one parent, and it's not because the parent is favoring you, it's because the other kids are opting out, that's the dream. Because then you don't feel like a bad parent. It's more like you just have somebody who likes what you like.
Exactly.
Did you, so what is your favorite food scene of the places you've lived? Is it Madrid running away?
Madrid has some amazing food. I really, really love Madrid. But I think, I don't know, my favorite place my favorite food is Tokyo. I was lucky enough to go there with my dad a few years ago. I've been there twice, one with my dad, one with my wife, and it's my favorite food, and the culture and the people, just everything out there is just unreal. It's amazing.
Was it just you and your dad the first time you went?
The first time, yes. It was a boys' trip, just me and my dad.
And was it
that's fun.
Was it based on the fact that you guys were going to go get your eat on? Was it like, let's go?
Yes.
That's so great. So you took a food trip to Tokyo with your dad?
Yes, we were there for 4 days. And every night we tried a different place. And I was telling him maybe when I was like 15, I think we went when I was like 18 or 19. But when I was 15, there's this place called Gyro Dreams of Sushi. It's called Gyro.
Yeah.
It's the place in the train station. And I've always wanted to go there. And so my dad was, he scheduled it and he surprised me and we went and it was absolutely unreal. It was amazing.
So you went into that little subway.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was amazing.
It was everything you wanted it to be?
Honestly, the whole trip was amazing. It's very, when you sit in front of Gyro, obviously he's like super old and he's super like professional, and you sit down and he just stares at you. And as soon as he puts the fish down, he like stares at you and you have to eat it. And it's very nerve-wracking eating in front of him, but it was such a cool experience.
Was most of your eating in Tokyo just we'll eat what you give us? No pointing at a menu? Wow, that's great.
Oh, yes. Yeah, like honestly, we didn't order anything. Like we went to this place called Wagyu Mafia. His name's Hammer, who I've actually known for a long time. He's one of my close friends. And he has a restaurant in Tokyo called Wagyu Mafia. And they call him like the king of Wagyu. And he's unreal. He like you go to his restaurant and his chefs are like screaming. It's so good. Yeah, it's really fun.
There's that chef in Hero Dreams of Sushi, the one who is keeps making the egg over and over again and basically has a nervous breakdown.
Yes.
He opened a place in New York called Nakazawa, and
I've had that place.
Yeah, my wife
Really
got me reserved. We went there for my birthday a few years ago. And I feel like when I saw him, it's the way most people feel when they see your dad. I was like, oh my God, that's him. I'm so excited.
That's honestly, there's some great restaurants in New York. Like my favorite Japanese is Yoshino. Yoshino and Ito, those two, unreal.
All right.
And
Great.
the pizza's amazing.
Yeah. So I think that's so it's not just when you go 4 days with your dad to Tokyo, it's not just sushi. It's the whole breadth of Japanese cuisine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's everything.
Did you ever do anything like get up at like 4 a.m. to go to the fish market and those kinds of things?
I did. So me and my dad went with Hammer Wagyu Mafia to the original fish market, and we woke up at 4 a.m. and we went, and I was so excited. So you walk into this fish market and you see all the shrimp, all the oysters, all of that, and then you go to the back. And then you open up this curtain and you go in, and it was like maybe like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And the auction was just about to start, the tuna auction. And so Hammer was bidding on a tuna and he won. And so he took it behind to like his little spot, and his chef had this massive sword that was just cutting it up. And we were having, tuna sashimi at 5:30 in the morning. It was amazing.
Wow. You were having it just straight off the auction block.
Yeah. Well, so when you cut it open, there's like the most expensive and the best part is like in the ribs, and all you have to do is get like a spoon and just kind of scrape it off and put some soy sauce on there.
That's unbelievable.
It was amazing, but at 5:30 in the morning, I was like,
oh yeah.
It's such a thin line. What you're describing is such a thin line between like absolute the peak of culinary experience or like a punishment in a prison cell. They kick in the door at 4:30 in the morning and make you eat rib meat from a tuna with a spoon.
Yeah, I was in Tokyo once, and in the hotel there was a buffet breakfast, and then there was a traditional Japanese breakfast, and you could go to either one. And one day I was like, let me just go to this traditional Japanese breakfast, and it was like way too much fish at that hour of the day.
It honestly, in Tokyo, like the food is absolutely unreal, but like I didn't really want to eat sushi for like a couple months when I got back. Yeah. Obviously, just because, when you try sushi in Tokyo and you come back and you're just like, it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a lot.
It's a little bit. It's that I feel like nothing's more exciting than your first day in Italy when you're just like, this is the best. And then by the third day, you're like, I got to change the way I'm living.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I got to get to the gym.
Yep.
Josh is going to hate me because he hates when I promote my own work, but I'm just going to say I have this show that nobody watches called Documentary Now that does parodies of documentaries. But one of my favorite things I wrote an episode called Juan Likes Chicken and Rice, and it's a parody of Gyro Dreams of Sushi. And I think you really enjoy it.
Oh my God, I'm definitely going to watch it.
It's on Netflix.
I love watching food stuff.
And is that Fred?
Fred Armisen and Bill Hader are in it, and we actually shot it in Colombia. It's a guy who has a tiny chicken restaurant that you have to walk to the top of a mountain for, and it's very funny, especially if you liked Hero, because that's one of my favorite documentaries of the last. And so you love Chef's Table.
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I just love watching cooking stuff, and my wife's always like, "What are you doing?" Like every time she's like, because like our favorite, like we used to love watching Gilmore Girls, like that was like our show.
Yeah,
and everyone always laughs at me when I say that. They're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like the best." But now all I watch is food stuff. So it's just I love just looking at it.
Is Nicola an adventurous eater?
She has in the last 4 years since we've been together. I took her to this place called Vespertine, which is a 3-star Michelin restaurant in LA. And I didn't tell her what the restaurant was because usually she isn't a fan of those restaurants where they feed you like one thing every 20 minutes. Yeah. So we go to this restaurant. It's a date night. I tried really hard to get the reservation. I finally got it. And then when we got there, she was like, please tell me this isn't one of those restaurants where you have one thing every 20 minutes. Because she didn't eat all day, and I was like, oh no, she's like going to be upset. So the first dish comes and she absolutely loves it. There's some very interesting dishes on that menu, but it's unreal. It's really good. It was really funny because we were laughing the whole time. It was and now she likes to go to those restaurants with me.
Do you, what's the, as an adventurous eater, what is the thing that you made the leap of adventure that you most regret? What's a thing you ate that when it was over, you were like, I could have done without that piece of adventure in my belly right now?
I mean, I don't know. I think I don't really regret anything, but the most strangest thing I've ever eaten is probably cod sperm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That has to be in the top three.
It's not number one. It's not like a crazy thing, but like, but
what
honestly,
do they call it that or do they have a different name?
They must have a different name.
Yeah.
To be honest. I think so. But like there's this other dish in Tokyo where they eat raw chicken, which I really want to try. I don't know if you've seen it, but the chicken's so clean and fresh there that they serve it to you like sashimi. So that's on my list.
Whatever the word for cod sperm actually is, as soon as they say cod sperm, that's the only word you're going to remember.
Right.
Exactly. I'm sure there's another name for it.
They were like sweetbreads, and they were like, no, that's taken. I've only been in Madrid for 24 hours. Okay. But it was on my way home from Morocco, and I had the greatest time in Morocco, and I love it, and the food is great. But my wife and my sister-in-law were shopping for rugs, and I decided to eat some street meat in a Moroccan souk. And everybody, by the way, everybody was there. Everybody looked like they were having the time of their lives. It looked like the most delicious chicken I've ever had. It was the most delicious chicken I ever had. And then we got to Madrid, and I was like, I'm going to be in the hotel room / the hotel room bathroom for the next 24 hours. And so I literally never saw Madrid. We were there for 24 hours.
Yeah, I've definitely done that.
Yeah. I mean, you got to take a chance every now and then.
Exactly. When in Madrid, why not?
Hey, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors.
Support comes from Blueland. Hey, Pashi.
Yes, Sufi.
How many plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles are thrown away each year?
I don't know, 50, 60?
5 billion.
Whoa.
You dope. And if that's not bad enough, most cleaning formulas are 90% water, which is heavy to ship, leading to excessive carbon emissions. Plus, those products are often filled with nasty ingredients like chlorine and ammonia. Lose-lose situation for you and the planet. But guess who's on a mission, Posh?
Blueland.
They are on a mission to eliminate single-use plastic by reinventing cleaning essentials to be better for you and the planet with the same powerful clean you are used to. I love it. I know you love it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't thrown out a cleaning bottle in a long time now because we've been a Blueland household for, I'd say, over a year now, and we love it.
You fill your reusable bottles with water, you drop in the tablets, you wait for them to dissolve, and then you never have to grab bulky cleaning supplies on your grocery run. That's a nice thing not to have to worry about.
Absolutely.
So for you, Posh, you can just buy your vegan noodles or whatever it is you're buying.
Yeah.
Refills start at just $2.25. You can even set up a subscription or buy in bulk for additional savings.
Blueland products are independently tested to perform alongside major brands and are free from dyes, bleach, and harsh chemicals.
Blueland has a special offer for listeners. Right now, get 15% off your first order by going to Blueland.com/trips. You won't want to miss this. Blueland.com/trips for 15% off. That's Blueland.com/trips to get 15% off. This episode of Family Trips is brought to you by Nissan. It's time to fuel your inner adventurer in the award-winning Nissan Rogue, Rock Creek.
Hey, Seth.
Yeah.
Tell me about your inner adventurer. Are you a rocky trails guy or more of a snow roads bird?
I'm a snow roads bird. Like to go up my snow roads, maybe pull over at one point, pop off a couple snow angels back in the car, keep on rocking.
Yeah, I was going to say your snow angels are some of the nicest snow angels I've ever seen.
They look as though an angel fell from heaven and just splatted into the snow.
Yeah. One thing I will say, a note on snow angels.
Yeah.
You don't have to do them face down.
What? This is going to be a game changer. What about you, Posh? Rocky trails or snow roads bird?
Well, I mean, I'm a bit of both. I do love when you're in a vehicle that can handle some rocky terrain. I like driving slow and feeling a big old tire sort of creep over a rock and sort of waggle you back and forth. And that's the kind of feeling that you can get with some confidence in the Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
And I would say a lack of confidence in the car we drove in high school, which was a Renault Look car. And if it was even a little bit rainy, you wouldn't go outside.
Whatever kind of adventurer you are, the Nissan Rogue Rock Creek is ready for you. Thanks to its intelligent around view monitor with off-road mode, the Rogue Rock Creek helps brave adventurers like you and also Seth to navigate around narrow obstacles in tough terrain. So thanks again to Nissan for sponsoring this episode of Family Trips. Adventure calls in the first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek. Learn more at nissanusa.com.
Intelligent round view monitor cannot eliminate blind spots. It may not detect every object. Drivers should always turn and check surroundings before driving. See owner's manual for safety information.
Here we go.
Did you ever solo travel with just you and your mom?
The only one that I can remember is when we went to Africa to do like a charity trip. When I was about 14 or 15. That's like the only trip that I can remember. Because obviously my mum's so busy with, her fashion stuff, and I was at school, and I when I was like 14, 15, I was like, I really want to do a charity thing. And she was like, oh, I'm going on this one. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, yeah, I want to come. And it was amazing. I love Africa. I've been there a bunch of times, and we just had the most fun and met amazing children. It was great.
Where were you? Where with that trip with your mom?
I think we were in Kenya.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been there a few times, and I was lucky enough to go and be a part of David Attenborough's Our Planet, which was really cool. Really cool. It was amazing speaking to him. So I've been to a few places in Africa, but yeah, probably I think we were in Kenya.
I imagine talking to David Attenborough, you just want him to never stop talking.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was honest. So when I went on that trip, I turned vegan for a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Josh is currently vegan.
Really?
Currently vegan. Yeah, about 5 years in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I honestly, people always like, was it hard? And I was like, it really wasn't. Honestly, after speaking to him, I was like, I'm just going to try it for a year. And it was the easiest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But it sounds like you've got that. You're too much of a foodie.
Yeah.
I feel like for you, it would be very hard to cut things off. Whereas for me, it was like very easy.
You can't do it, Brooklyn, because like no vegetables make sperm. And obviously we know that's...
I know.
Look, if there was broccoli sperm, you'd be like, let's vegan it up. It's so funny when you say David Attenborough. Like, I feel like you're like, oh, nothing's better than like going to Manchester with David Beckham, or nothing's better than like going to, but like you say, like David Attenborough, it's so cool to be on Our Planet with him. Like literally and there's no place you could go with him where he's not an expert.
It was honestly like the footage that he got was when I was with him, he was like explaining about this camera that he uses that was like millions and millions of dollars. It was this massive like circle on the front of this car. And they were filming these 5 jaguars, these 5 leopards, or what are the animals that run ridiculously fast?
Cheetahs.
Cheetahs. So it was like there was these 5 cheetahs, and they were all brothers. And it was just like, it was the first time that they've ever seen them. 5 cheetahs like this, because they don't usually get along. So it was unreal to see, and he's just amazing. And when you're talking to him, you just don't know what to say back, because he's just like, the way he speaks and the way how passionate he is unreal.
Yeah. Okay. That guy knows what he's doing.
I've never been to Manchester, England. I've always felt like it'd be a place I would like to go. Is it as a city as cool as it seems from the outside?
It is really cool, except for the weather. The weather's not great.
Yeah.
And obviously, and every single building is just bricks. So that's all I remember from it. But there's great food, there's great pubs, there's the people are amazing, the accents are funny. So yeah, it's a really fun place to go for the weekend.
They don't even sell suntan lotion at the stores there.
No, they don't.
You're never gonna need it.
They don't.
Just get it at the airport when you land in Spain.
Exactly.
Have you ever taken a long train trip with making these your own train snacks?
Yes. I'm trying to think where I went. It was for a festival. I went to Wales for a festival a long time ago. And I made a bunch of sausage rolls for my trip.
Naturally.
Exactly.
You just like have a full rucksack. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Full rucksack.
Is that cause for getting a sleeper car to go to Wales? Is it that far? It's not that far.
It's not
is it?
that far. It's a couple hours. I've driven once, I've taken the train the other, and it's just, honestly, going through all of Europe on trains is so fun. You just go on, you get drunk, and you see amazing England, which is the best.
We used to live, Josh and I used to live in Amsterdam. And
oh, wow. I've always wanted to go. It's the one place I haven't gone yet.
You've never been to Amsterdam?
Shocking.
No.
For a man of the world, I'm blown away.
It was always known as a terrible food city, but it's really come into its own.
It's way better. It's way better.
I know. I really want to go.
Yeah.
I really want to go.
That's
we're not usually the ones throwing out the recommendations, but yeah. Go.
It's definitely on my list. Is
Nicola, before you guys met, do you feel like does she love to travel as well?
Yeah. So she acts and she directs. So she's she's been in a few movies that filming in Tokyo, filming in God knows wherever. But so yeah, she did travel. She used to live in, before we were together, she lived in LA with her brother. And her mum and dad live between New York and Miami and Palm Beach. So, she's always traveling. But honestly, like, since we've been together, we're always traveling, because my mum and dad live in London, and my grandparents going to New York, going to Miami, we're always traveling.
Yeah. How do they feel when you bring your giant sack of sausage rolls on a plane? It's got to be a real.
It is interesting. They're just. They always like look through my bags, and I have to explain to them what it is. It's it's a pain, but I get it done.
I feel the same way about podcast equipment.
Oh my God. I feel like honestly, I was traveling. I went to see my hot sauce being made in Arizona, and I was with my friend Hunter, who's a photographer, and he had this light, which is, and the guy was like looking through this light for like an hour, and he like didn't understand it. So I could imagine with podcasting equipment that, they fully look through it.
Yeah. Where in Arizona?
I'm not sure the actual place, but it's called AZ Peppers. Okay. Not really familiar with Arizona, but I went there when it was 115 degrees.
Yeah, and that's like every day.
So is this so once you came up with your recipe, then you had to decide like where to get your peppers sourced?
Yeah, so when I came up with the recipe, the original sweet jalapeno recipe, it was very important that it had to be fully organic. I really wanted it to be fully organic. And so it's actually very hard to find an organic pepper farm, because not many hot sauces are organic. So I was searching for 7-8 months trying to find the perfect place. And then I found this place called AZ Peppers in Arizona, got on the plane, met them, fell in love with them. It's a dad and his son. They own it together, which I really like. And I was there for a few days trying over 150 different types of hot sauces, like too much sugar, too much that. So I decided to go with them, and yeah, they're amazing.
That's fantastic.
How do you feel after a weekend like that, trying 150 hot sauces? That sounds like a Madrid day to me.
Yeah, I had to have a lot of milk. So
yeah. I don't know. You've seen that show, Hot Ones?
Yes. So the main guy, Sean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he came to my Cloud 23 hot sauce party event in LA.
I mean, that's talk about the A-lister.
Oh my God, I know. Like, it was so cool, and I was so worried about this party. But anyway, he came, and he was the sweetest guy, because my dad just went on, and it was my dream to go on. And even now, when me and my wife, we have 4 dogs, so we don't like to usually go out for dinner every night. So we stay in, and I cook up a bunch of wings, and I buy like a bunch of different hot sauces. Obviously mine is one of them, and we try and like recreate it as one of our date nights. That's like our thing. But no, he's the nicest guy, and I hope I get the chance to go on one day.
I went on and I mentioned it because you said the milk. Like, that's the part that kills you. I mean, the hot sauce is bad enough, but then you, like, the amount of dairy you intake to, like, combat the heat, that was harder for me the next day. Oh, yeah.
Was it really hot? Was it really bad?
It was, at the end, it was really, I felt like my whole, not only like my physical face, I felt like the part of my brain that is like good at answering questions was like, I'm going to go deal with this. The burning of the tongue.
I would love to try it because I've done the one chip challenge just because I was just curious. Have you ever seen the one chip challenge?
No, what's that?
It's horrendous. It's this chip. It's horrible. It's this one chip that's like the shape of a Dorito, and it's like $25 online. I ordered some, and I've seen videos. It was like a TikTok trend for like a while, but you're supposed to eat it, and you can't have water or milk or anything for like 4 minutes. And like, it was actually dangerous because some people were like going to the hospital. But I really wanted to try it because I love spicy food. So I bought one and I actually videoed it and I posted it on my Instagram a couple years ago. And it was the hottest thing I've ever had in my life. And it was the wrong day to do it because the next day I had a really important meeting on the Zoom with Whole Foods for my hot sauce. And it wasn't, it was the wrong day to do it. So
yeah. It sounds like every day for me.
You even talking about it, I felt like opened up my sinuses. Like,
it was horrible. Yeah. And it was like, it's like this like really dark chip. It was horrendous.
So if you ordered a few, did you sort of get some friends around to be like, hey, come on, let's come over and do one chip challenge together?
Yeah. I mean, I ordered like 10 because I was like, I'm not going to do it alone. So
and also free shipping. If you get 10, free shipping.
Exactly. So I tried to get my brothers to do it. They wouldn't do it. I tried to get my wife's brothers to do it. They wouldn't do it. So I've just been handing them out to my friends.
Yeah, your dad.
As like normal chips. No, my dad won't do it. My dad won't do it.
All right.
One day I'll make him do it.
This is fantastic. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh my God.
Really love talking to you. And Cloud23, that's c23.com.
Get C23.
And there's a tangy and there's two kinds, right? There's a tangy one and a spicy one. Yeah,
there's a sweet jalapeno, which is my personal favorite, and then there's a hot habanero, which is more of a.
And you have plans for other condiments, correct?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
what's
every
next?
6 to 9 months.
What's going to be next?
Can't say that.
Great.
But I'm working on it right now, but it's going to be, all I can say is it's like, I'm going to do like different condiments, but in like the spicy realm. So.
Okay,
gotcha.
Great.
If you do ketchup, our father's going to be upset if you try to do ketchup because he's a Pittsburgh guy and he's just like, it's just Heinz. It's Heinz
100%. Heinz is always going to be always the best.
Yeah. But whatever you do, we wish you great success.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for taking the time to speak with me. I really enjoyed it today.
Before you go, Josh has to ask you some quick questions we ask all our guests. This is our lightning round.
Amazing.
All right, here we go. You can only pick one of these. Is your ideal vacation relaxing, adventurous, or educational?
Relaxing.
What is your favorite means of transportation?
Probably car.
Okay. If you could take a vacation with any family, alive or dead, real or fictional, other than your own family, what family would you like to take a family vacation with?
The Beatles.
Great. Oh, that's a good answer.
Yeah. We're a lot of episodes in here. No one said the Beatles
I
yet.
mean, I do feel like Brooklyn has, there is a slight issue here, which is they're not technically a family, but we're still going to let them go on that trip.
Yeah.
If you had to be stranded on a desert island with one member of your family, who would it be?
My sister.
All right.
And then London is your hometown proper?
I think my hometown's LA. That's where I live with my wife and my dogs. Yeah.
Would you recommend LA as a vacation destination?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
A lot of English people like to come to LA.
Yeah. I've got a buddy who is engaged to a Scottish woman right now, and all the Scots want the wedding to be in LA, and all the LA people want the wedding to be in Scotland, and because everyone just wants that trip to the other place. But we'll see what happens. Seth has our final questions.
Brooklyn, have you been to the Grand Canyon?
I have.
Was it worth it?
Yes, I hiked to the bottom and up. It was amazing.
All right. Who'd you do it with?
I did it with my family when I was
All
really
right.
young, actually. Yeah, it was really fun.
All right.
wow.
Shout out to the Beckhams for getting it done. This has been a delightful conversation. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope to see you in
Amazing.
person soon.
Definitely.
right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye,
Our
buddy.
pleasure. Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Family trips with the Meyers brothers.